Hello everyone. So this is the second part of the chapter Plant Life, the Flower. So in the last video we have learned up to fertilization, and here we will see what happens after fertilization. So have you wondered what happens to the whorls of the flower after fertilization? After fertilization, a series of changes takes place in the flower. All the parts of a flower, such as petals, sepals, and stamen, shrink and fall off, except the ovary. And the ovary enlarges to become the fruit, and the fertilized ovule develops into seed. And the seed contain a baby plant called embryo. But sepals, that is the green leafy structure, persist in some fruits, such as tomato and brinjal. Now let's read about the parts of a fruit. So a ripe fruit consists of pericarp and seeds. The pericarp develops from the ovary wall and may be dry or fleshy. So pericarp is composed of three layers. The first layer is epicarp. It is the outer thin skin that covers the entire fruit. The next one is mesocarp. It is the middle pulpy edible layer of the fruit. And the last one is endocarp. So it is the innermost layer which is hard, membranous, that encloses the seed. Now let's read about dry and fleshy fruits. When a single ovary of a flower forms only one fruit, then it is called simple fruit. So simple fruits are of two types, that is dry and fleshy. In dry fruits, the entire pericarp becomes dry at maturity. The pericarp is thin and cannot be differentiated into epicarp, mesocarp, and endocarp. So the examples are garden pea, bean, walnut, etc. The next one is fleshy fruits. So in fleshy fruits, the pericarp develops into succulent tissues. It is soft and fleshy at maturity and can be differentiated into outer epicarp, middle mesocarp, and inner endocarp. So here the examples are mangoes, orange, cherries, tomatoes, bananas, etc. Next is parts of a seed. So seeds mainly consist of the following parts, that is seed coat, embryo, cotyledons, and endosperm. Seed coat is the outer protective layer of a seed. It protects the internal parts of the seed and absorb water to soften it so that it can break open at the time of germination. And in seed, water enters through a small opening called the micropyle. As we know, a seed contains an embryo which gives rise to a new plant upon germination. And this part, that is embryo, consists of radicle and plumule. So radicle is the embryonic root that gives rise to the root system when a seed germinates. And plumule is the embryonic shoot that forms the shoot system after germination. Next one is cotyledons, also called seed leaves. They surround the embryo and nourish the seedling during germination. So seeds are of two types, that is monocot seed and dicot seed. Seeds with one cotyledon, such as maize and rice, are called monocot seeds, while those with two cotyledons are called dicot seeds. Examples are pea and bean. The next part is endosperm, which mainly persists in monocot seeds, and it lies just beneath the seed coat and provides food to the embryo. But in case of dicots, it gets reduced and contained within the cotyledons. Next is germination. So the process by which a dormant embryo in a seed develops into a young plant or seedling is called germination. Now let's read germination in a monocot. So at first, this monocot seed absorbs water from the moist soil, and after some time the seed coat gets ruptured due to the growth of Radicle. The radicle develop into a root system, and this plumule grows and develops into a shoot system bearing leaves. As you can see, in case of monocots, the cotyledons remain in the soil or just at its surface. It just dries off after the leaves appear. Now let me show you how germination takes place in dicot. So first, the seed absorb water from moist soil. After 1 or 2 days, the radicle emerges and grows downwards, that develop into a root system, and this plumule develop into a shoot system. But the main difference between monocot and dicot is that, as we know, dicot has 2 cotyledons and monocot has 1. And in case of dicot, the cotyledons are pushed above the soil. As you can see, it is coming out from the soil. As you can see, these cotyledons become green in color and dry off after the appearance of first leaf. So these are the first leaf, and this cotyledon get dry off. Next is conditions necessary for germination. So seeds require adequate water, oxygen, and a suitable temperature for germination. So why water is important? As it is absorbed by the seed coat, which then swells up and cracks open. This helps the radicle and plumule to emerge with ease. Not only this, even some chemical reaction for enzymatic activity are initiated within the seed with the help of water. Next is oxygen. So seed require oxygen for respiration, as this produces energy for the growth of the embryo. The last one is temperature. So the optimum temperature for seed germination is between 10 degrees Celsius to 35 degrees Celsius.